Yeah, good evening, Henry.
Always lovely to hear from you. What do you think about this move by Keir Starmer? Is he stronger as a result?
No, definitely not. Look, I want to tie together a few things. You know, the last time I talked with you, we had a bit of a ding-dong.
Yes,
and
let's not do that again.
No, we won't. But at the end, I said, Starmer was saying to Donald Trump, give me some crumbs, Daddy. And then what did the chief secretary of NATO call Trump?
Daddy.
Called him Daddy, yeah.
You're a soothsayer.
Yes, look, this country is collapsing. Yesterday, when I was trying to get to bed, I was thinking about buying a Mercedes on my credit card, and I was listening to a podcast about Keir Starmer by the lady I like to call Princess Diana Abbott. Yeah?
Yes, okay, right.
She has been treated very badly by him, and she is one of the pure-hearted people like the Jeremy Corbyn who would have made this country so much better. So Keir Starmer has alienated the hard left of his party. The Brexit voting, Union Jack wearing right wing of this country can't stand him. And this is the part that you might not like to do with me, that the people who seem to love him are the people in the media like you folk. You
That's
know,
not true at all.
No, this is not having a go at you, you know.
Yeah,
look,
can I tell you who put Keir Starmer in his job, Jonathan? It was Labour Party members elected him as leader, and then the country, because of the system we operate in, I know it wasn't a massive percentage, but nonetheless, he got elected by the public, Jonathan.
I woke up this morning and having taken 9 flights this year, 6 of them business class, my credit card company have saying I'm going to have to default.
Right.
So I woke up very stressed and I was listening to the radio.
No, you can't just... What did you say? You've taken 9 business flights this year? Or
no.
8 of the 9?
I took 9 flights and I wasn't being silly. I only took 6 of them as being business class and now I'm struggling financially.
Why did you take them as business class then?
Because I thought my business was going to do very well, but it's doing terribly. But
Right.
According to the walkie media commentators, and I won't mention any names, but James O'Brien this morning was saying, businesses are feeling so buoyed under Keir Starmer. We all love him so much. I might have made the last part up.
James is not here to defend himself. So
I know, but you love Keir. Like, you think
I don't love Keir. Where on earth are you getting this from?
No, you know, nobody in this country, whether on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, nobody like him because he's just, can I quickly say...
He's just won a landslide majority, Jonathan.
See, you're liking him again. Can I quickly say...
No, I'm not. I'm pointing out a fact, but go on, yeah.
Look, I was listening today when I was feeling so depressed because I can't buy the Mercedes. Now, I was listening to Barack Obama...
You keep talking about Mercedes business class flights. I mean... I'm not a financial advisor, Jonathan, but you might want to be slightly careful about splashing out on a Mercedes.
You know what I ate this evening? I ate a Chinese meal for 2 because I was so stressed. But listen, on the Starmer point...
But again, your finances, that would have not been cheap.
Well, but Keir Starmer will rescue me. But no, listen, quickly, last thing. Today I was listening to Obama and his wife on the podcast.
Yes.
And, him and his wife were angels. And there was a man who could keep his base on side. Tony Blair, apart from the alleged war crime, could keep his base on side. Even someone like, Ed Miliband.
Do I know Ed Miliband?
Now, do you know of him?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Rory Stewart was interviewing him on the podcast with Alistair, Don't Mention the War, Campbell. And Rory Stewart said to Ed Miliband, Ed, both of us are quite odd-looking, which I thought was a bit rude. But apart from their odd looks, Rory Stewart and Ed Miliband also have some principles. But this Keir Starmer, he is a vacuous man, and I know you are going to put your walkie-talkie media, North Korea-style moo on and say he won a landslide.
Jonathan, I'm sorry. You cannot accuse LBC or broadcasting in the UK of being like North Korea. I mean, the amount of times I come on LBC and I'm hammered for being anti-Keir Starmer, you can't win.
Do you know the only radio presenter who bravely stand up against the Keir Starmer?
Go on.
It is the great Nick Ferrari, who was introduced to me by my driving instructor in Croydon in 2005, but he died 8 years ago.
Oh, crikey, okay. A lot of stories, yeah. Okay, so I don't want to get sort of hashed into it, but you're not a fan of Keir Starmer, but you are of Labour, or not?
I voted for all the main parties, and I genuinely like people who at least have some principles and you could articulate them. But this man, one day he's doing this, that, and even with the asylum policy, he did the one in, one out asylum seeker walkie-talkie. You put one in, you take one out. It's just pathetic.
Carry on.
To be offensive. Right?
No, nothing. Interesting stuff. Okay. Lastly, Jonathan, how was your day today? Everything all right? Yeah? Anything to report?
Nothing particular, nothing specific to write home about, apart from my imminent financial collapse and the fact that I can't repatriate my business funds. Not that I'm dodgy.
Last time we spoke, your toilet was broken.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, now I'm still renting. The cistern is okay, but the seat is still broken, and I'm obese, so it sort of goes from one side to the other. And I'm only renting one 3-bedroom house now because I'm going to have to file bankruptcy. But apparently Keir Starmer's going to kiss the economy and make it all better. We all love him so much. I'm joking. I can't stand the man.
Yeah, I think that was clear. Thank you, Jonathan in Harrow.
Keir Starmer's spokesperson today saying we should celebrate it. We need to be proud of it. This after a 12-year-old schoolgirl was sent home, pretty shamefully, and the school have admitted this, for wearing a Union flag dress on Diversity Day. Keir Starmer says we need to be proud of being British. Do we? Are you? And if you are, and I am, why are you? Jim's in Dundee this afternoon. Hello, Jim.
Hi there, thanks very much. I'm enjoying this comedy hour, I have to say to you.
Why is it? What's funny, Jim?
Tell you why. If you were measuring a country's ego, right, Britain would definitely be number one because we call ourselves Great Britain. Not another country calling us Great Britain. We call ourselves that.
Well, we are great, so we might as well say
it. I think if you look at this country, what you'll find if you look at its history or even look at it in the present tense, right? I mean, we're the most deferential people going. We've got a royal family. We've got lords that tell us how to live our life. That we never just happen to live in a big house and have it because they had a bigger army a few hundred years ago. We've been lied to before the general election, and we're just tipping the forelock again. We're very mean-spirited at the moment. We've got
I don't buy that, Jim. I really don't buy that. Everywhere I look, I see problems for sure, but I also see kindness and decency and good people helping each other. I genuinely do. I see it all the time on my road, in my community. I had a wonderful chat last night with an Afghan cab driver. You see it everywhere.
Yeah, but I'm sure you see it in Australia and New Zealand and Canada.
I'm not saying it's unique, but it's a source of pride.
We go on about we've got the best food in the world. We've got the best army.
No one says we have the best food in the world.
But you hear that all the time. We've got the best standards of food. We've got the best army. Jim, all these things that we keep going on about. All we do is like self-flagellation all the time. We just love ourselves so much.
I haven't said that, and I agree. I don't think this is about comparison. I don't think to be proud of being British, you have to say we're better than the French and we're a lot better than the Germans, and my goodness, look at the Americans. It's not a comparison. It's just saying this country that we live in, that we share, do you know what? There's a lot to be good about it and celebrate. Yeah. That's it for me.
Yeah, can I just correct you on one thing?
Yeah,
I have to tell you this. The modern game of football, as we know, I have to tell you this, was actually invented by Scotland.
Well, that's contested,
the game of throw-ins, right? Passing the ball, right? Crossbars, right? These things are invented in Scotland.
Right,
you played a different form of football, and yet you take the credit for it. You invented it.
Jim, I said Britain invented it.
Britain invented it. Can you
Scotland is part of Britain.
Scotland invented the modern game of football.
We're the same country. We're the same country.
No, we're not. We play football against each other.
Yes, because we have different nations within the same country, but we are all under the same flag. We all come under the Union flag, don't we?
No. Look,
we do.
Listen,
it's a fact.
We're not going to agree, right? We've got this perpetual inequality that we keep, promoting all the time. We keep promoting it. We've got a situation now where we've got, you might as well get a politician to go to a mother who's 9 months pregnant and say, and it's her third child, and go, we don't want you. This is the country we live in now.
I just don't recognise it, Jim. There's problems, there's division, of course there is. We were talking about it on the show just last night. But I still think, and I will die on this hill, and you might want to call in and disagree with me, that this country is mostly full of good people looking out for themselves and their family and their community and each other. I stand by that, and I will die on that hill because that's what I see. Not enough. Could do with a bit more of it. But that's still the majority. That's still what happens day in, day out in this country.
Basically, Ali, I'm sorry to interrupt sort of a lot of the sort of romanticisation that's happening on memory lane right now.
Yes.
But I think that we're not sort of facing the fact that pubs are just not very welcoming for many demographics out there.
Go on, tell me.
I think they are dying off. And I think I come from Manchester, South Asian background, Muslim background. I'm not religious, so alcohol doesn't offend me at base, but it's also not like integral to the way that I socialise.
Absolutely,
with people.
Same for me. Yeah, in that sense. Yeah.
And I have a great time going to destination pubs like you were describing
exactly.
Pestons earlier, right? And I think those pubs will stay because they offer something great. Okay.
Yes.
Now, what we are finding though is that young people. I'm 36, but I've worked with young people, so I feel like I have a millennial perspective, but with a bit of input from Gen Z, right?
Yes.
And what I think is that why would anyone, with the cost of living relative to wages, especially for that generation, want to spend their spare cash, if they have spare cash, go into the kind of dingy pub where the carpets are brown because of the years and years and years of residue, smoke and ash, and you go in, and because you've never been in before, there is sort of an uninviting atmosphere or look that gets turned to your way.
Do you think this is really interesting, Chantal? Do you think tastes are then changing? So it's less inviting. People don't want that dingy atmosphere, and they certainly don't want to pay with money that they're struggling with to go to a dingy atmosphere.
Absolutely. I mean, I say I don't drink, but I've been to many bars and wine bars like you've mentioned before.
Yes.
I think that the alcohol itself doesn't make it uninviting to me, right?
Same with me.
What I found living in Manchester, you see the pubs that die, and they are sort of the old gents clubs, right? And then you see the ones that adopt and are thriving, and usually those are the ones that adopt like social programs or some kind of community events that happen there. Alcohol isn't the main sort of bonding agent that happens in those pubs.
Now, this is really interesting. So, Chantal, is your argument, therefore, an advice that if you want to survive and you're a pub landlord, don't make it primarily about the alcohol?
Yeah, interestingly, I'm really holding myself back from saying what Rishi Sunak said about young creative people during COVID and said just retrain if you're not finding success in that sector. Now, what I do think is, yes, there's a market out there, and it is down to sort of these owners. I understand the struggle, the cost of living, the pinch is for everyone.
Yes.
I wish for no one to have less than they have now in the future, right?
Yeah.
And that's why there is an onus, I think, to see what's out there and see what's working. In a cosmopolitan city like Manchester, what I found is a lot of those spaces, and to give credit to your last caller, a lot of those amazing buildings where pubs used to sort of live in, they've adapted. Galleries are now galleries are like the main thing that young people go to now, and a lot of them serve alcohol, so you can still get that if that's what you want, right? But they do things like sort of a craft session with adults on an evening, and they do things like social events where they bring in certain food partners and things like that. You have to be entrepreneurial in that way. I hate using that term because I think it's overused and blasted to sort of young people as an easy way out. But that is the world we live in now. It's more granular and there are more moving parts, and we have to, as people, especially business owners, figure out ways to plug that into our own model.
I think it's a brilliant point, and I think a lot of pubs have had to move more into the gastro side, the serving food side, upmarket type food elements of it. But I also think the more fundamental point you make, Chantal, is don't make it all about the drink. Think about other entrepreneurial, innovative ways you can appeal to a demographic that might actually not want to drink, and certainly even if they do, are not going to be affording to go there that regularly because things are so expensive. Chantal, thank you.
Absolutely. We've grown up through an enormous pandemic, through COVID, which brought alongside a lot of political struggles. But we also have lived through things like Black Lives Matter. We've also lived through the rise of social media and TV shows and programs such as Adolescence that we've seen had enormous success across schools, across young people, across parents. They all are fundamentally political. And young people are more engaged with alternative methods of political engagement. Yes, maybe we're not immediately going to choose a political party at 16. Maybe we're not going to party conferences. But our form of engagement is as valid as that.
Most people aren't going to party conferences. Most people aren't joining political parties.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one thing that's interesting and often goes kind of unnoticed by large politics is there is a real presence in youth politics through organisations such as the National Youth Agency. And just last year, in 2024, there was the nationwide Make Your Mark kind of survey, which is of all young people basically arguing what they think is the most pressing issue to students from 11 to 18. And that had 526,000 votes cast. And that just shows that there is a real uptake of young people trying to get their voices heard, but there are structural challenges, or at least there were structural challenges. And this vote at 16 is a turning point in the right direction, but it's not the end goal. It's not enough to give someone a vote. You have to hear what they're saying. Manifestos have to change and respect the fact that there is a new demographic involved in the discourse now.
Well, and even without this change that we're talking about, it's becoming increasingly clear that we are in danger of having very generationally split politics, aren't we? And I personally think that's dangerous for the country. We need the political story of the country to include everybody. And for people not to think, well, I'm young, therefore, or I'm old, therefore, because we're all related to one another. We don't live lives in little silos.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one thing that, a lot of backlash has come to this bill, especially from the Conservative Party. And I'd like to just mention, wasn't it Disraeli that said that we should beware of two nations forming? And he may have been talking about class, but in this respect, we're talking about age. And we have one collective goal of strengthening our economy, ensuring our national services are fitting and adequate to us all, and also ensuring that our democracy is inherited by a generation of people enthusiastic about ensuring the governance of our country is strong. And sorry, Tara.
No. So you far away. It's great to hear such enthusiasm from you. Are you? When do you turn 18? If I can ask.
I turn 18 on Tuesday next week, so very soon.
Well, happy birthday for when it comes. And so you'll have some local elections, presumably, after that, following year, yeah?
Yeah.
Excited to vote?
Yes, definitely. I was one of the 16-year-olds that registered to vote quite soon after my birthday. It's been a long time coming, I guess.
Well, enjoy it when you can.
Who do you think you are? You haven't got a clue. £12,000 a year? That's what my husband's got. I should have retired at 60. They shoved another 7 years on my retirement date. Yes, we own our own house. We don't go out. We don't go on holiday. What do you want me to do? Euthanize him?
No, of course I do. Of course. Come on, Lynn. Come on,
you
Lynn.
Listen to me. Stop the boats and stop foreign aid. Problem solved.
Well, it's not problem solved, is it? Because it's £15.5 billion a year being added to the national debt because of the triple lock, even if we stop the boats.
Oh, because of pensioners.
Yes, because of pensioners.
Again. No, you're wrong.
And also, Lynn, you say you should have retired at 60. That's ridiculous that you were ever able to retire at 60. 67 is a far fairer retirement age for both men and women, and frankly, it probably needs to rise further.
Well, I think you're absolutely disgusting. I really do.
Why?
Stop the foreign aid. Stop it straight away.
Lynn?
And the millions we're spending every day on the boats, but the pensioners have got to pay. We own our own house. If one of us needs care, they'll take that, all of it.
Lynn, why should a working age person who is not getting an above-inflation increase in their standard of living each year subsidise through their taxes an above-inflation increase in your standard of living? What makes you so special?
What makes us so special? You're unbelievable. Why should working people subsidise the boat people that have never put in a penny into the system? That's more realistic.
But Lynn, I'm not even saying we should cut the state pension. I'm not saying we should keep the state pension where it is. I'm saying we should increase the state pension every year, but just not by as much. The triple lock is a guarantee that pensioners will get an above-inflation increase in their standard of living each year, or at the very least, an inflationary increase in their standard of living each year. I'm just saying don't increase it by that much because we can't afford it anymore. Is there anything so wrong about that?
Yes, there is a lot wrong. Start looking at other areas to cut down and stop taking these people every single day. Don't take it out on the pensioners. A pensioner should be on $20,000 a year. No, it's $12,000 a year.
$20,000 a year?
Yes, absolutely.
But you haven't paid in $20,000 a year over the course of your lifetime in taxes.
I've paid in since I was 16. I'm now 63.
Yeah, but not that much.
Yeah, but how much am I going to get in my state pension? 10 years? 15 years, maybe?
Well, why should you get more out of the state? Because most pensioners, I know you hear this argument that, well, I've paid in all my life, so therefore I'm entitled to it. That doesn't apply to most pensioners. Most pensioners end up being net beneficiaries from the welfare state. And that's because, and this is a good thing, we're all living longer. And so a lot of pensioners living into their 80s, 90s, so they're spending 30 years plus on the state pension. That's a good thing, but it's simply not true that most pensioners are getting out what they've paid in for.
I mean, young people at the moment, right, when they start work, they have to pay into a smart pension, right? That only started when I was in my 40s. If I was told at 16, you need to provide for yourself, I would have done. But now I'm 63, it's too late. I haven't got the money to put into that pension to get a decent amount out. I think make sure they start preparing now, the young people, but not the people that have paid in all these years and probably will get 10, 15,000, and if you need to go in a home, we'll have your house. They'll take the lot. It's not fair. It's old people demonising, oh, they use the welfare state, they use the NHS, blah, blah, blah. You know, let them freeze to death over the winter. It's not fair.
I think an important point to make, Lynn, because you mentioned the point about small boats and the cost of migrants and all of that.
Millions.
Yeah, but it's nothing compared to what we spend on pensions. It is a drop in the ocean. Do you know how much we spend on the state pension each year?
Oh, go on then.
Over £150 billion.
And how much do we spend on small boats every single day? Bearing in mind there's about 500 to 700 coming in every day. Hotels, free NHS, free glasses, free dental.
I can tell you, it's not £150 billion a year. It's nowhere close.
I think it is.
It's really not. You're entitled to your own opinion, Lynn. You're not entitled to your own facts.
Oh, really?
No, the facts are the facts. You can have an opinion. You can't quote false facts.
I mean, I don't normally listen to the radio this time in the morning. How old are you?
I'm 32.
32. You haven't got a clue. 32 years old. You probably earn good money, which I don't blame you for. You know, you do a good show. You earn good money, but you can't. You've got to give old people a good amount to live on.
So I should subsidise you getting an above inflation increase in your standard of living each year when working age people like me don't get that.
Yeah, but you will, because people your age are paying into smart pensions and private pensions. When I was young, that didn't exist. You were always told that you would pay from the day you started work, from the cradle to the grave and all that, which is total rubbish. Doesn't work. We can see that. But you can't start taking money away from people now. You know, prepare the young people that are up and coming now to look after themselves in their old age. But not keep demonising old people like as if, waste of space, euthanise them, get rid of them, you know.
No, but Lynn, I'm not trying to demonise old people. I'm really not. The problem is, I think this is part of the reason that politicians are terrified of having this conversation. Because every time they do, pensioners claim that they are, being victimised somehow. Well, I'm sorry, they're not. Pensioners have done relatively well out of this government over the past 15 years.
Well, I mean, it's just, 12,000 a year, you haven't got the earning capacity. If you tell somebody at 16 that's starting an apprenticeship or a job, you need to look after yourself, they've got the time to save up. People my age haven't. My husband's retired. I mean, I still work part-time. I'm of ill health, but I still go out, I still work, and do our thing. We don't live on a lot of money. We're careful with our money. But start it off now with the young people. Start it off now.
I've got some figures for you, by the way, Lynn, on the cost of asylum seekers. This is figures from The Guardian. Apparently, accommodation for asylum seekers is expected to cost around £15 billion, which I would agree with you is too much. But that is a tenth of what we spend on the state pension each year.
Yeah, but it's a start, isn't it?
And £15 billion is the rate at which the state pensions bill is forecast to increase by 2030, according to the OBR, each year.
And what about the money that David Hammy's flinging all around the world to countries that have nothing to do with us?
I'm with you on the Chagos Islands. I think it's ridiculous to spend money giving away British sovereign territory. I'm with you on that, but
is it Syria? 97 million? Surely that's a start.
Well, come on, 97 million is a drop in the ocean, Lynn.